Good day, everybody. This week's help session is going to be on the topic of communication skills. What is communication, or what happens when we communicate? When we communicate, there is an exchange of feelings, thoughts, emotions, facts, and information. So when can we say that the communication has been effective? The communication is said to be effective when both the parties, that is, sender and the receiver, assign similar meanings to the message and listen carefully and make the sender feel heard and understood. So, do you agree that effective communication is a skill? It increases productivity, enhances relationships, and saves time and energy. Effective communication is a skill that needs to be cultivated, nurtured, and practiced. Some of the communication skills that can be practiced are active listening, non-verbal communication, and speaking with clarity. Are speaking and listening the only forms of communication? Not really. As students, most of the time we communicate through our writings. Reading skills serve as a foundation for writing. Effective reading skills give people the opportunity to learn new information and improve their writing skills. Therefore, total communication process involves all the 4 skills of reading, writing, speaking, and listening. Listening is the most important tool, followed by speaking. Reading is rated higher when compared to writing. Readers are easy to communicate with and have higher chances to succeed in both professional and personal life. Emoting is a very important way of communication. Let's begin our activity now. We will be displaying 4 pictures showing different emotions. You need to identify and name these emotions. Shall we start? Yes. Speaking is a very important communication skill. Research has categorized this skill into 2 main elements, verbal and non-verbal. As seen in the activity, non-verbal signs such as facial expressions, gestures, body language form an important aspect of communication. Only 35% of the communication is verbal. Rest 65% of the communication is not what we speak, but what we express through our body. In verbal communication, it is the words that is important. What we say and how it's said creates an impact. More than words, pay attention to the tone and the rhythm of voice. Let's have an activity to understand the difference. Scenario 1. Lecturer requests you to give your record book to a classmate. You agree. Next day, you request your classmate to give back your record. He forgot to bring it to your class. If the classmate was your friend, how will you respond? If the classmate was not your friend, how will you react? One student enacts both these scenes. The facilitator concludes that tone plays an important role in verbal communication. So, do you think speaking well alone is enough for us to be good communicators? Definition of communication is to exchange information flow from both sides clearly, which means that not only you have to speak well, but also listen carefully. In fact, listening forms 45% of the communication process. The Chinese character for listen, Ting, captures the spirit of listening. We bring our hearts, minds, ears, and eyes into this exchange. Listening with Ting enables us to have a much higher quality of conversation and communication. We are engaged in what the other person is telling us and deeply listening for their meanings. This results in very effective communication. Miscommunication happens due to inactive listening or poor speaking skills. Let's see how. Most of the time, we are not listening or paying attention to what the other person says. It's very important to listen to others carefully without interrupting them, and not to form our own thoughts or judgments while others are talking. It's better to pause after someone has finished before replying immediately. Most often, we do not say what we mean or mean what we say. Say what you mean and mean what you say is an outer expression that reflects the inner feelings. 65% of all our communication is non-verbal. It shows up in the body or our non-verbal signs. It's important to communicate directly or face to face, as this reduces miscommunication. Communicating through digital mode like WhatsApp, email cuts out the important non-verbal aspects of communication. Before we speak, let our words pass through each of the 3 gates. At the first gate, ask yourself, is it true? At the second gate, ask yourself, is it necessary? At the third gate, ask yourself, is it kind? It becomes easy to practice the above steps when we develop the ability to understand and share the feelings of others. Effective communicators use a combination of communication skills to make a positive impact on their receivers. Our communication with others depends on how we connect and communicate with our own selves and our surroundings. Being simple and in tune with nature or within ourselves helps us to be effective communicators. When we communicate effectively, we establish a connection, a relationship, that helps us to succeed. Thank you for participating in this session on communication skills.